Hello, welcome to the Konnekt-000-7 experience. Here, we come to the podcast where human connection is everything. If you're trying to connect better with those around you, you're in the right spot. So please, sit back, relax, open your mind, and enjoy the experience. Hello, everybody. My name is Thaddeus Sims, and I am the host of this amazing podcast. But I would like to start off this podcast in a different way. First off, I would like to say that I'm very grateful for everybody who listens to the podcast first. And also, I would like for you all to know that I do not take your time for granted, and being in a position as a podcaster to be able to help you in your life and be impactful to you in some way. So I desired to start off the podcast and let you guys know. Again, I'm very grateful. I'm very thankful. I'm very honored that you all do take the time to press play on my podcast, because you definitely don't have to. But the fact that you do, I'm very grateful. And again, I do not take my position lightly at all. So thank you. Now, today's episode is titled, it's our 83rd episode, titled Hard Times and Solid Friends. Now, as you all know, I have to go into my announcement. And the announcement is the same as last time, guys. For those of you who are in the South Florida area, because Florida is picking up, I must say. Now that you all who are in South Florida area, if you are specifically in the West Palm Beach Gardens, Lake Park area, there is a Konnekt meetup next month, November 20th at Kelsey Park. And for this, I will be teaching just people how to meditate, keeping it very simple, very basic. It'll be cool just to interact with those of you who listen to the podcast, and also a way for me to give you some value besides just listening to, me on the podcast. And also it'll be great really just to talk with you all and chat and just really connect, get off of our phones for a little bit. So that is coming up November 20th. And the times for that is at 7:00 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. And don't worry, I'll have the details in the description, a link to it below. So that's it for the announcement. And also, okay, wait, sorry, rewind. This is the starting point. So at some point, guys, as this grows, I would love to go to different parts of the world and have Konnekt meetups in cool places, like Konnekt meetups in London, and learn more about over there, or Konnekt meetups in Australia. Now that'd be cool. So I definitely see this being a really big thing, and I would love to just meet all of you who listen to the podcast and just tell me about your world. So that's going to be super excited. I can't wait. I love meeting new people. Obviously, this is a podcast about human connections. And I cannot wait just to talk with you all and just meet you, Okay, fun fact time. All right. So for the fun fact, the fun fact is a crocodile can't poke its tongue out. Because their tongues are attached to the roof of their mouth, crocodiles cannot stick their tongues out. Although they're very similar counterparts, alligators can. And now, y'all know I'm weird, so I figured I haven't done it yet, but now I'm going to. I would love to actually see an alligator stick its tongue out. I don't think I've seen the tongue of either an alligator or crocodile. I feel weird saying this out loud, but I'm very interested in seeing the tongue of an alligator or crocodile, because I see the teeth, and that's all I need to see. But the tongue part, you really can't stick it out, can you? If I stick my tongue out at a crocodile, I wonder, do they feel some type of way? Do they feel bothered? Or probably because they don't do it, they just never thought. And then again, I'm probably overthinking this. Dude, they're crocodiles. They probably don't think what is this pink thing sticking out of this human's mouth? Or Anyways, that's my thoughts on it. So I'm going to Google very soon an alligator's tongue. Okay. So let us get into the podcast, guys. This is going to be a very raw podcast. It's going to be very different. Usually it's always the good things, all the highlights and stuff like that. But I feel as though, there are times where we all need to have real conversations and real talks on real subjects. And I see some people, they talk about these things kind of like after they've been through some stuff. But it's really good, like, when you can talk about something that you're going through now, and you can actually like talk about it with some people who relate. And I'm going into this because I've had a few people around me who have been kind of going through things themselves, as am I currently. And it's just like interesting. And so usually you see stuff on like social media, or you see things on the web or something where a person just looks like everything is just going great. People are smiling, people are quote unquote successful, but you don't really know what's going on behind the scenes, right? And you're thinking, oh, they're awesome, but you don't know, like, they actually could be going through some things. So in this podcast, we're actually going to talk about some hard times, right? And we're going to talk about having solid friends in your life. Now, me personally, I can't, how can I put it? When I say can, because I got to be very careful when I say this word. I can. Usually I like to share something that I've experienced and then learned from it, and then it's kind of like over with, and then I share it, right? But in this one, it's kind of like you're right in the middle of it. And a part of me was like, is this something that you would really share with people and you haven't really got over it yourself? But I'm like, this is a podcast where it's about connecting with people. It's about, even connecting with yourself. And if people can't hear from someone, who's going through something that everybody goes through, but people don't talk about, then I'm no better off than, people who, hide these things. So we're going to go into this. So for me personally, I have just been going through just crazy, like decisions, stuff with business and things like that. And I've been doing things where it's just like, okay, I planned them out, but they required more time than I thought they would be. And so it put me in a very interesting financial position, right? It set me back actually a lot, actually, not a little bit, a lot. So it's just like, okay, now I have to reevaluate and change some things up. And so a part of me is just like, man, I have not like worked in like months. And now I look like I'm going to have to get back into working just to kind of get caught back up on some things, right? Because everybody has been through it, right? We have some setbacks financially. And so people don't like to talk about this. People really don't like to talk about finances. Like, that's like a taboo subject, right? But we need to talk about these things, especially if it comes with like helping people, because some people, they don't talk about the struggles they go through financially, and they hear that someone else is, and like the things that they're doing to like get out of it. It could help you, because people don't talk about this. So we're going to do this. I'm going to expose myself again. And so in this process of like going through some financial setbacks, like it was just some major setbacks for me that it just was like, okay, it looks like I may have to go back into the working field for a little bit just to get things caught up. And so I'm saying this like that's just an easy decision. That took a lot to decide. And even then, it's just kind of like, okay, it's very weird. I'm just like, okay, applying for jobs, and it's just so weird to me. I'm just like, oh my gosh. Anywho, right? Going to the people part, right? So in this whole process of doing things with this setback, it has really just kind of messed me up in a lot of different areas because I'm so used to going here or doing that. And it just really messed me up. And so I was really feeling low, guys, like low and down and different things like that. Like to the point I was just sleeping, because that's how I like cope with some things. I'm like, I'm just going to go to sleep. I do the work, like I do work to like get out of it, but it's just like, yeah, okay, I did the work. Now I got to go to sleep. And so I've been doing it. And then like, I'm going to go to a really good friend who's really, really awesome. I'm gonna. He said I can say his name. I didn't ask him, but he said it's cool. But it's a good friend of mine's named Jordan, and I was like, I was in the bed, and I was just like kind of feeling very down. Not kind of. I was feeling very down. And, positive mind and all of that, but still, sometimes things hit you and it takes some time. I'm laying down in bed, and I'm like starving, but I don't even feel like getting up to eat. Like I was drinking water and just going to sleep. I did not feel like I didn't have the energy to go eat. And so I was talking with my friend Jordan, and he was like, so how are you doing? And I was just like, to be honest with you, not good. And I'm telling him what I told you guys, financial stuff, setbacks and stuff like that. And, he has his own journey too. And I can't share that, but in his journey, he was just telling me a success that he recently had. And it got me very, very excited. And when it comes to solid people, because, we have, like I said, starting off the podcast, we have hard times and you have solid friends, people. Those friends who are very solid in your life, they literally can completely change everything that you're going through. If it's not the right people, they can make it worse. But if it is the right people and they're really solid friends, they can change the way you feel, think, and process instantly, right? So this friend of mine, he was just telling me about a success that he had. And when he's happy and excited, I get very happy and excited. That's just our energy. We love it when both of us are succeeding, or if we're both going through things, we talk about it and stuff like that. Very, very solid individual. So he told me this success, and instantly I was just like, oh my God, I was like up out of the bed. Oh my gosh, like I'm so happy for you. Different things like that. Like I was just smiling and cheesing. Mind you, still my world is not fixed. You know what I mean? Like I'm still trying to figure these things out. And immediately I felt amazing. I wasn't low anymore. I literally I think I told him I went from like 13% to 83 instantly with the news. And immediately I was like, you know what? I'm going to go eat. So I just went into the kitchen. I'm like, what am I going to put together here? Right. Because it's not like I can just go somewhere and just go buy something like I used to, because financial stuff. So I just was like, I don't know, I just had this good energy, and I was like, okay, I have these things. I can throw this together. Boom. I'm good. I'm happy. I'm drinking more water and eating. I felt great. And so I say this because when you go through hard times, you need those solid friends in your life who literally, they can just tell you something really good that's going on with them, and it changes everything. You start to feel better, right? Or you may be going through some really hard times, and as you're sharing these things with them, they say things that help you out, or they say things that make you think, or you feel better, or it just gets you through the moment that you're going through, right? Like when you go through those hard times, people don't say this, but you battle with the giving up part. But I need to move forward and not stay here. And it's like people say, oh, well, you just make the decision. And it's cute and all. But some of us, let's be honest, we have our thoughts. Our thoughts are like, yeah, I kind of want to give up because this is really hard. But I know I'm not the type to give up. Whatever. Right. And we all process that however we process that. But it's great when you have those people in your life who you can genuinely 100% tell them what you're going through, how you're feeling, and they're not judging you. They're not telling the world or anything like that. And they're genuinely just trying to help you out. Now, that was that example with that good friend of mine who helped me out. He had me feeling really good, and his positive energy just had me shoot through the roof, right? So now we're going to go through another scenario, right? So again, we're on finances. Now, my financial situation really, 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 really set me back to the point where I had to ask a few friends for financial help. That I have never done in my 27 years of living, right? I have never done that. I've always been the one to give, but I was like, I always tell myself I would never be in a position Be careful of the word never. But I was telling myself I would never be in a position to do that. I'm like, nah, because, anyway, that's what I said. And it was just like, okay, I have a decision to make. If I don't do this, like, this is gonna mess up a lot of things. Like, honestly, if it was not for these friends, this podcast would not be happening, right? So this is how critical it was. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I was really struggling with it. And so I went to the I didn't. Okay, sorry. Let me take you back. That day, I had no idea how I was going to like even knock out my phone bill, right? And I'm just sitting here like, okay, I legit have 4 hours. I remember I went to the water and I was like, I just need to, go out and relax. I went to the water and I was like, I literally have about 4 hours to get my phone bill paid. And if I do not have my phone bill paid, that I lose my connection to everything. And I was just sitting there like, oh my gosh. And I was thinking of those moments where, with those successful people, they're like, yeah, like you go through some things or you go through some stressful stuff or whatever. You hit rock bottom and then you want to give up, but then things happen and things change. I was sitting here like, well, God dang it. I would love to know if that moment's going to happen right now because this is something I've never done. And I just kept hearing this voice like, you know what? Don't give up. Don't give up. Cause I'm not going to give up, but I kind of feel like this is really crazy. I've never been in this position. And so it was just like, you know what? I guess I'll do this. Very uncomfortable. I wrote the message and I had a hard time sending it, but I was like, you know what? When it's very hard because it's the first time you did it, but when you do it once or twice, then it's kind of like, well, I already did it. So I might as well send it out to a few people, So I text a few friends like, hey, what I forgot the message, but the message was along the lines like, hey, do you have like a few, like I think I said $20 to spare because I got like set back with some financial stuff and I need to really pay my phone bill because my friends, they know I don't ever ask them for like anything like money related. So I was like, let them know, hey, 20, but this is the reason. It's not something stupid because some people just ask for money and it'd be for stupid reasons, but they know I would never do it. Like just ask them or whatever, right? That was very, 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 very hard for me. But in that moment, I really seen who my friends was. And I would like to ask you guys for a minute, who can you really say would be there for you if you hit rock bottom, right? And I'm going to also tell this to you too. You really can't say for sure who it would be if you haven't been there first, right? If you have not been in that moment, you can't really say, oh, this friend would definitely do it. But unless you hit there and you have no choice but to ask, you really see who's there for you, right? So I sent a message to a couple of friends and immediately, these friends are like family. So let me say that too. Immediately, one friend was like instantly, hey, no question. She was like, hey, I just sent it to you through this. And I was like, oh, thank you so much. I sent another friend was like, hey, yeah, sure. Do you have a Cash App or something? And I was like, I'm using Zelle for a different account. Boom, that happened. I sent it to another friend and another relative, but they didn't have it or whatever at the moment. And I sent it to a friend and he sent it a little bit later. And then I sent it to another amazing individual and she helped me out. And so the bill got paid, right? Very uncomfortable for me, but I had no choice. I was just like, hey, I had to look past myself here, like, being able to connect. And not only that, guys, but like because of like the podcast and being able to like stay on my schedule and tell myself for me to help all of you, like share a message that'll help your day. I was like, that was my main thing. I was just like, okay, I have a podcast and I really enjoy connecting with people and I don't want to get in my own way of being able to, help anybody. So I had to suck it up and I did it, right? But what it showed me was like, the solid friends that I do have. And of course, you have those who don't respond back for whatever reason. I don't hold them, no guilt or anything like that. I'm sorry, no ill feeling or anything like that. But I really got to see who my real friends were, my solid friends in that moment. So I'm sharing this with you all just for you all to really think, like, if you haven't been in that situation, who do you think would it be? You can't really say for sure because you haven't been, but who do you think it would be? And if it is the person you think it is, are you sure 100% they'd be able to do it? That's just a question for you. And some of you who have been through this, like rock bottom, and you have had to ask certain friends, I'm sure you know by now who is there for you when times get rough, right? When times get very hard, you know who's there for you, right? So this is why it's very important to have really great, solid friends and connections, and build just solid connections up with people, because at the end of the day, we're an interdependent society. We're not ever alone. You know what I mean? There are people who are willing to help us if we just simply ask. And also, too, if we just are willing to connect more with people, not saying connect with them to get something, but connecting with more people that allows you to either get help or you can help them, vice versa. And because of the relationship, they can help you get out of a very sticky situation, right? So that's another thing. And then a last part to this is a friend who I'm gonna mention his name too, because I told him before, but he was like, yeah, he doesn't care. I can say his name. But this good friend of mine, his name is Brandon. And so I'm stressing on a daily trying to figure things out. And I'm just like, no, you know what? Stressing doesn't get you nowhere. So I'm just like, breathe, take it a moment at a time. So good friend Brandon, we're always talking throughout the week. And he's always asking, like, how are you doing? Like, how are you? And he how can I put it? We have very deep conversations, and we're close enough to where we can tell when something's kind of going on. I feel like we just have this sense. And he's like, well, how are you, bro? And I was like, just like trying to tell him, I was like, I'm trying to figure out doing all this research, looking for a job, different stuff like that. And I was just like, telling him a little bit, kind of like stressing, some of these things. But he was constantly saying, dude, just take things like one day at a time, and focus on what you can control. And so it's good to have also a solid friend who helps you to really like focus and stay leveled. Because sometimes when you go through hard times, you can get in a state where it's like you're just really stressing the heck out, and you're kind of not really yourself because you're focused on some other stuff. And so you're not in a position to really be like all of yourself, right? But it's really good when you have a friend who's able to keep you like at a level state. And so everything he was saying, just like, hey, take it one day at a time. And I was like, you know what? I got to take it one moment at a time, dude, because, man, I'm thinking about this, I'm thinking about that. And that's what he was just saying, like, focus on what you can control. And that's like his message all the time. And so with that kept me level. And it still keeps me level because, like I said, I'm still going through some things, right? And it keeps me level. So that helped out amazingly. So definitely it's really good to have solid friends who can keep you leveled when you're going through things. And let's face it, some of you guys may not even be going through anything like financial, like I am going through, right? Some of you may have some emotional things. Some of you may have some mental things that you're battling with. Everybody has something that they're going through. And sometimes we hit a point where it's like we really get in like some very hard times. And it's who's around you that can help you. Like who are the people that's going to be there to help you get out of it or help you get through it, right? And so I feel it's just important. Number one, like I will say going through this and still going through it, some of the lessons that I've learned and that I can share with you all is number one is sometimes you're going to have to get outside of yourself and ask people for help, even if you've never done it before and it's very hard. Sometimes you have to look at the bigger picture and really do something that's very uncomfortable. For me, it was doing that. The bigger picture were all of you. Listen to the podcast and being able to help you all out throughout the week. and I love it. Now, that was the bigger picture for me. The podcast and just everything else. That was the main thing. And so it was just like, okay, by me not asking, I'm really like kind of hindering myself and messing things up. So for you all, you really have to really just ask yourself, like, what is it that's probably stopping you, or you not being able to ask, or you, whatever. We all have our certain things. So that was one of the lessons that I got. Another thing was being very grateful for what I do have, and being very grateful for the friends who definitely did help me out, and being able to have people that I can call upon. Another lesson that I would say definitely is, man, really, really, like, I would say planning. A big thing with planning is kind of like where I'm at with it. It's like, definitely got to do some things with the planning and look at some stuff, right? And also another thing is with everything is the biggest lesson is being able to recognize like levels of stress. Like in this whole moment, I was able to recognize, okay, I'm stressing out over here. I need to stop. I need to breathe. And it was just like, this is interesting. Like, I don't know. It was just this further awareness of this is what I'm like. So there was just lessons that I've just gained so far, and really moments at a time, taking things a moment at a time, and also having positive self-talk of, you know what? Hey, stressing yourself out really isn't going to work. Like, it's not going to help you. It's going to hinder you. You know what I mean? So there's lessons that I have gotten through this, but definitely planning for sure, and a bunch of other things. So with that being said, guys, that's kind of like the whole gist of this thing. This isn't one of those like, well, so how did you get out of it? Still going through it. But we will get through, right? I always do. And so it's just, I'm very grateful to have these solid friends, guys. And if anything, I hope from this episode, you were really able to really identify possible solid friends in your life, and even to develop those solid friends. And how you can do that is just you being a solid friend for other people, right? If you don't have those people in your life, try to be that for other people, like those people who you do know, try to get to know them more. If you see they're probably going through something, it may not be financial. It may be like they're probably down, or they just don't see themselves. Just simply asking them questions and stuff like that. So you be solid first to have those solid friends, because you never know when something may happen and you may need certain people in your life that could really help you big time. And I'm going to tell you guys, there are some moments too where it's the friends. How can I word this? I'm going to be real with you. There are sometimes you have the moments where you have like your close friends, right? And then you have your associates, the outer circle. You'd be very surprised. Those on the outer circle would be faster and more willing to help you out than those in your inner circle. Not saying that's everybody, but you'd just be very surprised. Like some of those things can happen. And also too, it's good to expand outside of your inner circle and kind of get to know other people, because a lot of people have different knowledge, different experiences and tips, all types of things that can help you in certain situations, because you never know, guys. Things could be fantastic 1 minute and the next day, something happens. Who can you turn to, right? That's what I'm saying. So build solid friendships by you being solid first and being able to help other people, because hey, things may be really good for you right now, and that is very good. Enjoy that. I'm going to get back there, but enjoy that. And for some of you who are listening to this now, and you're probably like, yeah, that I'm going through some hard times myself right now. And yeah, it's tough. Like, I got this, I got that. I will tell you, like everybody, like I've mentioned before with all my friends, one moment at a time, literally one moment at a time. Think about who you can ask for help. Even if it's outside of your inner circle, even if it's somebody you not that close with, but you feel like they may be able to help you out, do that and really just take it one moment at a time. Breathing is very important, especially during our hard times. Breathing, don't give up. And if you're those people who like, you're close to like giving up, or you feel like you kind of have given up, just tell yourself this isn't a position that you want to be in. You don't want to be in this position, 24/7. So if you can even crawl forward or stretch forward or even think like, in your mind that you're going to move forward, do that. You know what I mean? Because everybody's hard times are different. And it can be just very hard, right? But it's those people, especially those solid people in your life, who can definitely help you out. And for some odd reason, my intuition is telling me to say something too. And for some of you guys who may feel as though like you're listening to this podcast and you may feel like you don't have a solid friend 10 miles, maybe 100 miles like around you, I will say find things that make you a solid person. And okay, my intuition is telling me to go deeper into that. Basically, what I mean by that, if you're going through hard times and you have like not those people around you, this is the time where you kind of just look for things to give you that what's the word I'm looking for? To give you what you need in life. If you're going through some emotional stuff, then it's probably really good for you to look on like YouTube or videos that talks about getting through emotional times and really just soak that in. Just apply something with it, right? If there's no one that you can call, you do have things that you can learn, like how to be that for yourself. If you're going through some financial stuff, hell, and there's no one around you, start looking at different things to make your finances better. You know what I mean? Like, hey, start thinking, what, when I do get this right, I'm going to be really good at budgeting, or I'm going to be really good at whatever you need to do, like with finances. So doing those things to give you that something or that advice, maybe that a solid friend would have given you. Right. I know for me, if I'm going through something or someone's telling me something that I'm not particularly experienced in for sure, but I know someone who is, I'll share something like, okay, that sounds familiar. I know this person went through this. Let me share that with you. So find something that's going to give you whatever it is that you need to get through your situation is basically what I'm saying. I hope that helped, because my intuition kind of stopped on that. So with that being said, guys, okay, that is it for that segment of the podcast. Now we're going to switch up the energy. We're going to go a little bit lighter. And we're going to go into questions from our listeners, which is only 2. The first one is kind of funny to me, but okay. The first question is, how tall am I? I was like, okay. I'm 6'5", though the world tells me I'm taller than that. So I'm going to go get measured at some point in life and be able to accurately tell you. But I think it's because of my hair that throws people off. But I feel as though I am 6'5". But the last time I was measured was years ago. And they say, I don't know, guys don't stop growing until, I don't know, whatever age. But everybody tells me I'm not 6'5". So for what I know, I'm 6'5". My license says 6'4", but that was like so long ago. But I'm 6'5" to my knowledge. If you want to add the hair, then 6'8". Okay. The second question is, have I ever done therapy? So the last podcast, The Health is Wealth, was therapy. And I was asked, have I ever done therapy? And I'm going to say, no, I haven't. I would like to say that I've had like therapeutic moments with friends, and I don't think that counts at all. But so no, like a professional, no, I have not. Like I said in the last podcast, that's something that I would be interested in, I don't know, I would be interested in doing, talking to a therapist. But again, I don't know anything that I talk about. And again, I feel as though I would be the therapist. It's funny. So, but yeah, no, I have not. Another thing that I would like to say is, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a link to like a poll or something for the questions in the description of the podcast. So so it's all on the same platform, and you all can click on a link and you'd be able to just, write like some questions you want to answer. Only because now that the podcast has expanded into every continent now on the planet, some countries don't have access to social media, and I'm very grateful that I'm able to talk with a few of you all who listen to the podcast and you're in different parts of the world. Some people have told me that certain things that we in America, we have access to, some of you all don't. I think in China, I think that's even a fun fact. In China, they don't have you, like those of you who are listening and you are in China, you don't have, I believe, access to like the social media and things like that, or something like that, or is banned or something like that. So, and I'm familiar now, there's other countries, they have certain things too with the internet. So I figure if you're able to listen to the podcast wherever you are in the different parts of the world, I can create like maybe a Google link, I think, or something like that. Something like that, a Google link or whatever. And that way I'd be able to put the questions on there for you all who do listen to the podcast. You could be able to ask them there on one platform instead of on the social media. So that way it's open to all of you and no one feels left out. So I'm going to work on doing that for this episode. And yeah, so that's that. That's that, guys. That was it for the questions. And okay. And now the last segment is actually health is wealth. And this one is actually going to be on de-stressing. So there are many, I believe I've talked about stress before. Well, I talked about benefits of other things, but stress has been one of the benefits of removing the stress. But this one, I just want to specifically talk about like being able to de-stress. And some of those things with de-stressing are being able to express your feelings. And I find that it's really good to have someone who you're very close with, you feel open with, and they're able to you're able to express yourself to them, and vice versa. It's just an open channel. So that actually definitely helps with de-stress. It definitely helps take some pressure off. Another one is going for walks. Personally, that's one of my things. Sleep first, then I'll go for a walk. Walks are amazing. It allows you to really kind of move that energy that's kind of like pent up in you. It allows you to really just get out of the environment you're in and just really just breathe. And there's something about going out for a walk. I personally don't like to have my headphones in, but if you're a music person, do it. I personally just like to just go out for the walk and just breathe and just like let things just flow out of me. And it's the next thing is actually breathing exercises. So, one of the things that I teach like in the meditation is like how to properly like breathe. So breathing in through your nose and like basically breathing through your diaphragm. So in through your nose, out through your mouth, but having your stomach expand and not just your chest. So some of those exercises, I know there's like a whole type of breathing meditation. Some people do deep breathing. Some people do like these quick breathings and they hold it. So there's different types of breathing exercises. Another way to de-stress is praying. So whatever your faith is, praying is really good for de-stressing. I know for me, like my thing is actually meditating, which is actually one of the things to de-stress. So for me, and this is just me, guys, this isn't, not saying nothing about anybody else, but for me, I just feel like praying is like me doing the talking and meditating is me like listening. So I would say I do both. So that way is good. So if you're the type and you just pray, maybe incorporate the meditation part to like listen. But again, that's just suggestion. That's just me. That's what I do. Another thing is immerse yourself in a creative activity. That's really good. I would love to get into some more things. I haven't really tapped more into that. I can draw, but I haven't really like drawn in a while. And that would be really good. I think something that would be really cool too is like pottery, like with just doing something about like that and carve or sculpting things or whatever it is, like the pottery classes. Like I feel like that would be so amazing. I paint a little bit here and there, but yeah, so I find that definitely helps with de-stressing. I feel like it's just a way to like take that energy and put it constructively into something, right? Yeah, so that's just me. And then the last one is really just change up your environment. So I will say that if you if you're in an environment and it's kind of stressful, then just take like 5 minutes to kind of like get out. I know some of us, we have stressful jobs, we have a stressful place that we're at. So sometimes it's really good to just like get out for a little bit and just change up the environment. Sometimes even cleaning your room, maybe even moving stuff around is really good. And if you're not in an environment where you can do all of that, just change up the environment a bit. I know some of the things that I used to do at my old jobs is like when I would stop and just take 10 minutes, I would kind of go to different places that I normally wouldn't around the job. So I may take a longer walk or take a different hallway or something like that just to change up the environment. So whatever environment you're in and you're able to change it up, that would be really good. So with that being said, guys, that is actually it for this podcast. I'm very grateful that you all took the time to press play. And again, I don't take this position as a podcaster lightly. And I would also say I really, really hope that you were able to get something out of this podcast episode, because this one was a little different. I usually like to go through something first and learn from it and then tell you all. But for me to kind of just say it like right in the middle, I felt it would be even more beneficial at the same time, because it's something that everybody goes through, hard times, and some people don't like to talk about them, and especially finances. A lot of people don't like to talk about that. So I feel like it's really good to just hear that someone else may be going through what you're going through too, and some things that can help you get through that. My thing was having solid friends, right? Being those people who are able to help me out. Your thing may be different to get through it. You know what I mean? Or you may have something different, or it may not have been something you even thought of doing. So if it wasn't, I just hope that you were able to get something out of this, maybe some of the lessons that I had to learn for myself. So I really, really hope that you all got something out of this. And I'm very grateful for you all who listen to the podcast. And with that being said, for some of you in the South Florida area, I look forward to seeing you at the Konnekt meetup next month. And for all of the listeners on here, let us connect more for sure. If you do have access to social media, definitely just click on the links for the social media tag, and let's just get to know each other. And hey, just let me know, like, and I will say, let me say this too, because I know when it comes to connecting with people, and some people who don't normally do this, if you add me or whatever on social media or Facebook, and you're not really sure what to say, just start off with, hey, I listened to your podcast. What's up? That's it. That way, you don't feel weird or anything like that. If you just want to talk, maybe even ask a question or something different, I feel like I'm easily accessible. So for you to just break the ice, it's like, hey, Thad, I listened to your podcast. What's up? And then boom, we can go from there. As you guys know, I'm a very friendly person. I love meeting different people and talking with different people. So, if you have questions or you just want to talk or anything like that, by all means, just like hit me up and stuff like that. Or, hey, maybe you have something that you'd like for me to add to the podcast that you feel like it would be beneficial to other people. So yeah, hit me up, let's connect, and we'll go from there. So with that being said, guys, that is it for this podcast. I know I've said that like 5 times, but this is it for real. And I will talk to you all Friday. So with that being said, have a good day. Later. Thank you for listening to today's episode. Please leave a 5-star rating and share with a friend near you. Remember, the world's a better place because you exist. Know your worth and know thyself.